Welcome to day 335 of our BU 365-day challenge. Do one thing every day that improves us. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here with a really pretty pillow that's kind of in my way. Let's sneak it back there. Today and for the month of December, we are going to talk about, first today I'll talk about the power of questions, and then every day this month, I'm going to share two questions. One, thought-provoking, and the second one, kind of a fun, interesting question. I found a bunch of lists online. There's actually books of questions you can ask yourself to improve your life. And that's what the purpose of this is. Although some of the questions are just frivolous and random. So I'm asking a kind of a serious question every day and then a more frivolous or random question. And you get to decide which one you're going to answer or both, right? Some days I'm sure I'll answer both. Other days I'm sure I will have a hard time picking between the two, which one I want to answer. And I've learned over the years and over the decades that the questions I am reluctant to ask, especially myself and about my life and about everything that's going on, those are the ones I usually need to ask myself the most. So today, let's talk about power of questions. I'm going to grab my questioning magnifying glass, my giant magnifying glass, and we're going to talk quickly about the power of questions, then how to ask smart questions, because the answers to our questions and the quality of the answers we get is determined by the quality of the questions we ask. And I've shared my story about the WTF. If I am filtering everything in my life through questions and my primary question is WTF, it's not giving me very good quality results, right? And I learned that I needed to change that question. So that's true of any questions we're asking. If we're asking bad, disempowering questions, we're going to get bad, disempowering results for us. But if we can open up and ask better questions, we'll get much better results and much faster growth and progress toward what it is that we want in our life. So what are some of the powers of asking questions? Number one, asking builds our knowledge. Number two, asking teaches us about people and about experiences. Number three, asking engages us and gets us actually involved in communicating with other people. Asking communicates value. Asking guides us and helps us to learn lessons without having to learn them all ourselves. Asking sets an example for other people. If we're unafraid and willing to ask questions and learn more, it sets the example for other people to do the same. And asking develops us. It helps us to become the version of ourselves that we want to become. So what are some ways to ask smart questions? I will share 6 tips. Number one, think about what you know already. And this list reminds me of my friend Abel Beckford. Number two, confirm what you want to learn. What do you want to know? Why are you asking a question in the first place? And this can be formal and informal, or it can be something you just do quickly in your head before you formulate and ask a question. Number three, create at least a draft or list of the questions that you want to ask. Have you ever gone to a job interview, or have you ever interviewed people? Well, I don't know about you, but I always prepare my questions in advance. Or if I'm going to be interviewed for something, I like to know what are the questions in advance so I actually have good answers prepared. Sometimes impromptu is awesome, and I do a lot of impromptu things, but other times it's nice to be prepared so you make sure everybody is really getting their questions answered. And those that are afraid to ask in front of everybody else gets their questions answered too. Number four, refine your question. Number five, ensure simplicity. We can say things in a super duper complicated, convoluted, PhD level way, or we can ask our questions in a simple way. Almost every question we can imagine can be simplified and asked in a way that, and nowadays they say make it 3rd grade level, a 3rd grader can understand. Remember, I think it was 8 or 7-year-old was how we're told to write copy and things. Number 6, finally, ask your question confidently and pointedly. Be direct. Don't beat around the bush to ask your questions. My ex-husband used to do that. He wanted a certain answer. So he would ask and formulate his questions in a way so that you either had to answer or it would cause an argument. Well, if you know me, it caused some arguments over the years. I've got 9 tips for to start telling a better story, and I'll share that another day because I think we've gone into enough. I want to share today's 2 questions. Now, I went through a couple of days ago and I just looked through lists of questions and I just randomly picked and assigned days and numbers. So if I were following my own advice, I would have thought of what is the journey I want to lead myself and all of us through as I ask my questions. But I didn't do that. I chose to do it randomly because our life is a journey and it's different and unique for each and every one of us. And so the questions that I would ask to take us through a journey would be different than the ones that you might need for your journey and for what it is that you're trying to create right now. But since we're all trying to become a better version of us, I think there's some really excellent questions here. There's some moral value questions. There's some personal development and growth questions. There are some just like, what do you call them? Riddle type questions. And so I think it's a pretty good mix. So today's question, number 1, and I guess I'll call them A and B for day 1, because this will be day 1 of December, questioning December. What is your worst habit and what is keeping you from breaking it? I guess that's 2 questions, but it's one 2-part question. So what is your worst habit and what is keeping you from breaking that? Think about that. Ask yourself that today. And if you're brave, share it in the comments below, the answer. Or number 2, if life is unfair to everyone, does that mean life is actually fair? Now, I like this one because my dad always taught my sisters and I that life isn't fair. And so if you're expecting it to be equal and fair for absolutely everyone on the planet, that's never going to happen and your expectations are never going to be met. So again, what is your worst habit? Or if life is unfair to everyone, does that mean life is actually fair? All right, have an awesome day. Any questions, hit me up. If you have any questions that you think should be part of our list, let me know because I've got a couple of spots at the end of the month that we could add some new questions to. All right, have a fantastic day and I'll be with you tomorrow. Bye.